Good morning. Welcome back to Walk and Talk with Lamont Carey. As you can see, it is cold as hell out here. But I'm back. Me and my co-host. Gangsta. Look at the people, gangsta. He ain't got no whole lot of love. So how y'all doing this morning? It's a privilege to come and hang out with you all, spend some time. It is cold as hell out here. What's happening? So, I didn't know what in the world I wanted to talk about today, but I figured I would talk about second chances. And second chances that I want to talk about today is reentry. Like, what does a second chance for people coming home from incarceration looks like? Like a real second chance. What does real success looks like, and what is our role in helping individuals accomplish the success or the support that they would need to successfully re-enter society and get their life right, to be productive, to be engaging. Greg, what's up, champ? Greg doing some amazing work with young people in DC. So today I'm talking about second chances. And what does brother, why is you dragging me in the mud, brother? Talking to gangster. And what does second chances really look like? So you have those that say second chances or reentry begins upon incarceration. I can agree with that. But I think we should even go before second chances, because a lot of us never even had a first chance, and this was before incarceration. So like Greg, I try to help prevent people from getting incarcerated, but also going in institutions where they are. But what does a second chance look like in your mind, in your family? What works and what doesn't work? Because I don't know everything that works, and I don't know. And so I would love to learn, what are you doing to help individuals successfully transition from incarceration into productive lives? So one of the things, one of my experiences, being that I went to prison as a juvenile, that I was forced to go to school because I was under 21. Hey, Tanya. Because I was under 21. And if it wasn't mandatory for me to go to school, I would have never enrolled in school. And we probably would not be having this conversation right now. Hey, Daisy. So today we talking about second chances and what works in your life, because they say most of us are connected to somebody who is incarcerated, or we have a kid or connected to a kid with a parent that's incarcerated. Good morning to you too, Tanya. So for me, again, if I wasn't forced to go to school because I was 16 when I went to prison, that I would have never enrolled in school, because I was done with school. And surprisingly, that sort of began to change my life in a dramatic way. So for me, part of preparing individuals to successfully re-enter society is one, education. And as many programs as possible. And so if you have a loved one that is incarcerated, how are you helping them to prepare for a real second chance? And I know, and I love sending them money for commissary so they can buy food because they don't like the prison food. Most prison food for the most part sucks, so I respect that. But also, I think we have to figure out how to even go a step further in helping our loved ones prepare for reentry back into our community. So some of the things that I will ask you to consider, but again, I would love to figure out or learn some of the things that you're doing to help your loved ones to transition back into your family with ease, because prison is a traumatic and dramatic place. Everybody's walking around pretending that they don't care about nothing. Everybody is believing that they have to be as emotionless as possible, because this prison is usually about a fear factor. I ain't afraid of nothing. I'll do whatever it takes. If you disrespect me, we going to war. And so if we don't have programs in there that's going to help change the mindset, then what are we really changing? How are we really helping? So today I want to talk about second chances, and what do you believe that'll help equip individuals to prepare to come home from prison and move on to a better life. Now, I know some of the usual things which are extremely important. Housing, yes, need a place to live, definitely need that. A job, yes, definitely need a job, and being able to take care of ourselves when we leave these prison institutions. But also, I just want you to consider the things that individuals in prison need before they get out, because that's just like with anything. What are the pre-steps? And so one of the things, and I know y'all might kick me in the neck for this, but one of the good things that just happened was the passing of this First Step Act by where it was a bipartisan bill, but it was spearheaded by a lot of amazing organizations, but the president was in support of it and he signed it. And what this bill, some of the things that this bill has proposed is reentry programming, and programming inside institutions. Also, so women won't be handcuffed and shackled during labor, because I don't know if you knew that was when women go in labor, when women go to prison that are pregnant and they go in labor, they're either like shackled to the bed or handcuffed to the bed. So they're doing that, and the disparities in the crack and powder cocaine laws. And so that's part of the reason I just thought of doing this talk on second chances, because we want to have an influx of individuals that are coming home. And traditionally, I believe the number is like 600,000 individuals are released from prison across this country every year. But did you know within 3 years, 75% of those return to prison? So that means their second chances didn't get off to a good start. And so for me, my answer to that is, what do we have to do behind those walls, behind those gates, to prepare an individual for freedom and the second chance? Now, I don't know if you know, but in prison, they had this thing called Unicor. And Unicor, because I know the traditional job that you may think that prisoners do is making license plates. Some prisons still do that, but some prisons operate like raising fish, farming, making chips that make cell phones work. They're even making Victoria's Secrets panties and bras. So some of you may have on some panties and bras that was made inside of an institution. So prisoners are making all kinds of stuff. Bus, like public transportation, bus seats. I think they was doing something for NASA or something. So there's a variety of jobs that some institutions have. But the problem is, you can be putting in these chips maybe for cell phones, or you could be manufacturing the Victoria's Secret drawers, but you come home and Apple won't hire you, right? You come home and Victoria's Secret won't hire you, and you have been working the last 2 to 20 years making them a product. Making them a quality product. I slipped on ice. Now that's funny. Making them a quality product that they're making, that you're mass producing, and they're making a fortune off of, and they love your work, but when you come home from prison, you can't get a job, right? So there is programming and there are trades inside of the institution, but we need programming and trades that exist even in our communities. Because if you're building bus seats or doing this mass manufacturing, and you live in a city like Washington D.C., well, we're technically not a city, and you live in Washington D.C. and you can't have a job at a factory because factory jobs don't exist. So how is that preparing you for a real second chance? And so in my opinion, I think as much education that you allow individuals to get broadens their thinking, and they can figure out and create opportunities for themselves. And I remember when I got in the college program, soon after they ended the college program because, well, what I was told was one of the complaints from the community at large was that people were saying, why do I have to go in debt, bust my head to send my child to school, but somebody that's in prison get to go to school for free? But the statistics said that a person that receives a college degree in prison is way less likely to commit a crime ever again when they come home. And so if education has been proven to change the way, change people's behavior and open their eyes to other opportunities and give them proof that they can think past go, then why would we remove that? So in my opinion, if we prepare individuals for a real second chance, Seal, what's happening? Education is definitely a plus, because even in our free society, we're saying that education helps you get in the pathway will help you get on track to the middle class. And so if we're saying go get an education is going to create different opportunities for you. It's going to be able to change your life. You're going to be able to get these great jobs. Then education should be a huge factor inside of correctional institutions. And programming, like cognitive behavior programming, which is some of what I do. The whole goal is to help individuals recognize where they are in their life, and not just where they are in their life, meaning physically inside of a prison, but where they are in their life in regards to their thinking, like their decisions, because you didn't just wake up in prison. Something took place. And I know a lot of people are falsely accused and convicted, but I'm talking about for those who committed the crime, who were conscious of committing the crime, and all they thought that they knew how to do was commit crime because it was their only way to change or improve their lifestyle. So we need more programming that focus on how to change your thinking, how to change your behavior, and financial literacy. Because one of the things that we know, that there are companies all over this country that have, hey Heather, companies all over this country that have you ever been convicted of a crime on their job applications? And a lot of states and counties are championing and passing legislation which is called ban the box, where you remove, have you ever been convicted of a crime, off of an application, and this allows the individual to be able to get the interview. Because a lot of times if you check that box that you've been convicted of a crime, your application ends up in the trash, right? So this is why entrepreneurship can come in handy, because one, it gives you other options if you can't find mainstream employment, and you can create your own way. You can create your own business. And a lot of us that go to prison have some experience in running our own business. Now, we don't know everything, but we have some of the fundamentals of starting a business. Because as a drug dealer, you know customer service, you know manufacturing, you know marketing, you understand supply and demand, you understand security. So there's some fundamentals that we already possess that you can expand on. So entrepreneurship, Heather said, good morning, cannot believe I am awake for this, fam. Well, I am glad that you are awake. And for this, now that's cool. That's pretty cool. So, Heather, I know you work in this space. So I wanted to talk about today about second chances, and what are some of the things that you believe that can help individuals really have a real second chance. And I was saying that, to me, second chances don't begin when you release. It's the pre-release stuff that we have to get right. The programming, the skill sets that has to be built in order to change mindsets, to give somebody a skill that they can apply when they get home. Whether that is a trade that is focused on something that businesses that exist in their hometown or their state where they can seek employment, or entrepreneurship where they can come home and create their own opportunities. A couple of days ago, I saw an article about a guy that was in prison, and he now is selling like more nutritional oodles and noodles. Oodles and noodles is what we live. He said he wanted to create something that was more healthy for individuals. So I don't know what programs he was exposed to, but I know he said he learned how to cook in prison from cooking in the microwave. And I don't know if that inspired him, or that was some kind of program that he was a part of that inspired his idea on creating a healthier ramens, oodles and noodles. But I think it's a brilliant idea, because I haven't been in their prison institution, whether when I was incarcerated or whether I was free, where the inmates don't have oodles and noodles to eat. So what is it, 2.3 million individuals incarcerated? So on average, even if you take half of them that have a pack of oodles and noodles running in the institution, probably like I ain't sure no more, but I think I used to get a case for like $5 or $6, so I'm sure it's done went up by now. But so I'm saying you could take individuals that are in prison while you have a captivated audience, teach them things on that's going to improve their behavior, expand their thinking, and teach them a skill and give them an education so that they be ready to come home, so that they be looking forward to coming home and being successful. And another thing that I think we have to really take into consideration when we talking about second chances is what is the dynamics of the family that they're returning home to. You know how, because families be excited when you first come home. And you know, people tell us or tell individuals that's incarcerated that you have to change people, places, and things if you really want to change. But if I have grown up in poverty all of my life, right, and that's what generational poverty, right, and that's where my family come from. So going back to poverty is my only option. Hold on, Heather said yes, and it's not just business skills. Folks need to know life skills sometimes, not always, but especially for kids who become adults in prison. Reaching them to take advantage of any program that exists. Like in Iowa, sometimes mental health services are more robust than when they get out, and they need to know if they can get some help learning to manage appointments in their health care. And have they ever lived in their own and had to do that? Oh, I totally agree that life skills, definitely life skills have to play a part. Definitely. So even what you mentioned about the health thing, I think when they release an individual that's on medication, they give them like 30 days worth of medication. And most people don't know what in the world to do after that. In some states, you can't even get on social services, right? So you don't even have access to health care. So if you're saying, all right, I'm released and you want me to have a real second chance, you want me to go out here and live a productive life, right? But in prison, they will pull your tooth instead of repairing it. Well, a lot of them won't repair your teeth. They won't do fillings and all that. They will pull your tooth. And so you'll come home with a mouth full of empty teeth, right? Empty spaces. And you go on a job interview and you sitting in front of the employer and you coming in to be a salesperson, a cashier, or something that's going to be dealing directly with their customers. And all they can see is your mouth, right? So having access to health care is important, because we can come home, we can go to the dentist, we can get some fillings, we can get some dentures, we can get some bridges, we can get those things that's going to give us a smile to make us more appealing to an employer when we go on that job interview, right? Also, having access to health care, our vision may not be right. You know, I'm having eye problems right now, but our vision may not be right. So we're not seeing as clear as we need to be seeing, and we go on these job interviews and we squinting. And the employer looking at us, right? So having access to health care should be a part of reentry. It should be a part of every state's plan, and to have our health looked at. Because I know in the federal penitentiary, before you release, you do like take the HIV, you take like a physical, so they make sure that you good, or at least you know what's going on with you before they released you. And I don't know if all institutions do that, but people coming home with health problems, diabetes, high blood pressure, and if you don't have access to health care, how are you supposed to treat yourself? How are you supposed to get as healthy as you possibly can get? So there are so many things that are associated with second chances that I don't know if we always take a look at. But in regards to social services, If I'm a guy that's been raised in the projects and I don't have no choice but to come back to the projects, I can't change places because I ain't have a house before I went to prison. So I only have the opportunity to go back to the family or whoever that's welcomed me back into their home. And then if they living on a limited budget that they can't expand, that means me coming into that house takes away from them being able to meet their basic needs as they were before. So I'm eating the food, right? So if they getting food stamps, they got to stress their food stamps even further. I'm using lights. I'm doing all of those things that we all do now in our homes and in our apartments, the stuff that's going to increase the bills, right? And so having access to social services, I don't care if it's for a limited time, but if I'm coming to a household that's already stressed, but I'm able to get at least get food stamps for a temporary period of time, then I'm not taking additional food from a family that's already struggling to make ends meet. So again, thank you for tuning in. Walk and Talk with Lamont Carey and my co-host, Gangster, barking at people, pissing on everything that's moving. So we talking about second chances, and I would love to know, what do you think needs to happen in order to increase an individual's chance at being successful? So, programming, education inside of institutions. Education should be mandatory, in my opinion, or give them incentive to go to school, whether it's additional good time days, which everybody will love, or pay. But I know a lot of conservatives don't want to expand government programs because you have to pay for them. So, but just think of this. So say every institution decides they want to do a GED program or high school diploma program, right? But they don't have the funds or don't want to increase the funds or ask for additional money. Hey, Joyce, to pay for programming. There are prisoners in every institution. Hey, Sonia, I know you got some answers for this one. There are prisoners in institutions that have college degrees. There are prisoners in institutions that already have high school diplomas and GED. And if you have somebody already there in the school department, why don't you let them supervise the inmates with the college degrees and high school diplomas, supervise them in doing the lessons of the individuals that's getting into the GED program? That won't increase your expense. If you're giving the prisoners additional good days every month, that's going to cut their time in half. So there is always a way to improve individuals' lives without tacking on a huge expense. But if we want successful reentry, we want a real second chance for individual, it begins inside of those prisons. You just can't have reentry programs for individuals when they come home. You got to make sure we getting their mind right while they on the inside, and so they be prepared, so they be ready. And I thank and love all of those institutions that allow individuals such as myself to come in to do life skills and entrepreneurship and cognitive behavior, social emotional learning programs. I thank you, and it gives me nothing but pleasure to be able to do that. And I just know we just need so much more of that. Sonia said that is being done at the jail, but it seems federal is not programming. So with the First Step Act, that's part of what that is supposed to do, programming inside of federal institutions. So that's not going to impact like states and counties, but the states and counties might follow that lead because the feds is taking that on. So because you work in the institution, what additional programming do you think is needed to help the individuals prepare? And also, thank you for those times I have come in there and you have showed me nothing but love and support as I do my talks or my programming inside of the jail. Thank you. Tanya said, I think second chances are needed a lot more. Can you give me an example of what you mean, Tanya? I can it might spark an idea in my head and give me something that I can try to push that you said. Sonia said, thank you for your work. Thank you for yours, because you are dedicated. You definitely be in there trying to help individuals get their mind right. So what do you think about social services? Do you think individuals need social service? Oh, this is another thing that comes to mind when I think about second chances. Again, second chances start on the inside, getting people prepared to come home. And so you have to change the environment of the whole institution. And sometimes that even means staff. Because I remember some of these institutions that I was in, like when I was down Lawton, some of those guards was just as incarcerated as we were. And then you have guards that have been focused on punishment for the last 25 years because that's what they've been taught. And so to change the institution environment to focus on programming and successful reentry, I believe that you have to do some training with the guards as well. Because if you've been practicing one thing for such a long time, and now policy says that you have to go in another direction, then you have to have some mental shifts. And those shifts are not that easy for correctional officers. So there will have to be some training that's provided to them so that we can change the culture and the environment that's in there. So one of the things that I like about the institution is this PREA thing. And so PREA is basically about sexual assaults. So they doing everything in their power to cut down on sexual assaults. So that's going to minimize some of the trauma that individuals experience in prison, right? But how do we prepare individuals for a real second chance to come home and to be productive? Now, the one thing that I experience and I see when I do go in to participate in a day-long reentry program with people that's about to come home, like within the next 18 months, they be having plans, but the closer they get to being free, the more afraid that they become. So I believe, or at least I like to think that from my experience, another thing that's important for second chances, successful reentry, is bringing back individuals who have served time and come home and live productive lives. And not only just mean successful, that they making millions of dollars or started businesses, but just came home and was able to stay home, and bringing them back in and allowing them to share how they overcame the obstacles that they had to face when they came home. Sonia said the lifers coming home need to be reintegrated. We need more people coming in to discuss career and the requirements so the men and women can learn about that field. And we also need those Sonia, do you agree that we also need those programs inside of the institutions? And so I don't know if I'm always right with this, but I believe the job that you want, or the job or the career that you want, that's what you should go after. But I know I hear a lot of family members and a lot of people that working in in this field that say a job is a job. But I think you have to explain to individuals how they use this job as a job, as a stepping stone to helping them become stable and to end up where in the career that they really want to be in. Sonia said, some don't know what they want or how to obtain it. Yes, I run into that all the time, but I got a little trick that I usually do that help them to think more clearly about when they don't know what it is that they want to do. Tanya said, I have a friend and her son is in jail, and she be talking to me about when he come home, how hard it's going to be for him. I told her that I have a friend named Lamont Carey, and he have books to give fathers, and I just believe in second chances. Great. So I don't have a book for fathers. I have a book called Dead Before 18, Saving Our Boys from the Streets. And it's being used with adults too, because what I underestimate is that the same stuff that's in that book can apply to adults, like how to deal with your anger, about tattoos. You know how when kids and adults starting to get tattoos on their hands and on their face, and when you going to get a job from somebody, and they seeing these tattoos on your face and all along your neck, they may believe you gang affiliated, because for a lot of people that's like 40 and over, they may associate tattoos on your hand and your face as gang stuff. So you got to be cautious of that when you planning for your career. So those are some of the things. The book is like a guide, because my whole goal is to make sure kids make it home every night. Tanya said, yes, my phone text that wrong. Sorry about that. No problem. So, how do we improve second chances for our loved ones that's coming home? Heather said, those folks also need to take into account that people have their own trauma and mental health concerns and physical health concerns. I pride myself on never telling a client that a job is a job. I do encourage people to think about the dream job as the top step, and we need to build a few steps to get there. Awesome. So I think that's what be missing when we talking about successful reentry, like the steps. Because a lot of times, even I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't actually know the steps. And I think that is where we can increase the value in people's lives by giving them a roadmap on how to get there, and let them know that these steps aren't the only way to achieving your goals, but these are steps that have proven to work in somebody's life. And if you find out that another path is better for you to get there, then to do it. But one of the things that I've experienced or hear people tell other people is that you won't be able to do that. Man, you can't do that. You got a record. You don't supposed to, they ain't gonna let you do that. It's people, at least in DC government, it's people with criminal records working at the highest level. It's a guy now at Morca, Brian Ferguson, right? Was incarcerated, was falsely accused, but was incarcerated, and he's running the mayor's office on Returning Citizens Affairs. Before him, another former offender, Charles Thornton and Rodney Mitchell. They done had all of these great men that come from prison that was given an opportunity and excelled at those opportunities. Hey, Cree, we talking about second chances. People coming home, how do we improve the opportunities for them so they can go on to live a productive life? Tanya said, I love hearing you talk, but I have to go. I will tune in tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Yes. Sonia said, can Morka do more? Yes, Morka can always, everybody can always do more, but when Charles Thornton was running Morka, Morka was supposed to be like trying to push legislation and be like a connector, right? From my understanding of Morka. But when Charles Thornton became director of Morka, he started finding ways and building relationship to offer programming. He had like electrical programming, trying to create other opportunities because he didn't want to just be a referral agency. He knew from firsthand experience that individuals needed more than just to be referred. Because Sonia, you come home from prison to DC, you got to go over here to get your Social Security. You got to go over here to get your birth certificate. You got to go over here for this. You got to go over here for that. And you just coming home from prison, you don't really have the funds to do all this running. So what he tried to do was centralize all of that stuff inside of Morka, so it'd be like the one-stop shop. So can Morka do more? Every agency and every individual can do more. Are they doing enough? Are they doing a lot? Yes. I've went on trips with them inside of federal institutions to help individuals prepare for home. Giving them tips on things to think about, obstacles to overcome. Yes, everybody can do more. And I love what you all are doing over there at the jail, because y'all bringing in a lot of great individuals that's offering all kinds of programming. So we need people that's thinking outside of the box, because people that's incarcerated are not on one-track mind. Their thinking isn't all the same. Their aspirations aren't all the same. And so giving them a variety of options, it better equips the individual to find what pathway that he want to take for his life. Because at the end of the day, second chances are really the foundation of public safety, right? Because if I come home from prison and you deny me a job, you deny me housing, you deny me health care, you're telling me that you don't want me to be a part of mainstream society. You're telling me that you don't want me here, that you will prefer that I will be dead. And so I think what we don't recognize, when we deny individuals the opportunity to get a job, to get an education, to get a skill, to get health care, we're actually pushing them further into the shadows. How am I supposed to take care of myself and feed my family if you don't want to give me options? So you force me to figure out my own way. And with limited thinking and no education, no skill set, only thing that's waiting out there and that's welcoming individuals is a life of crime. And that ain't no real second chance. We could do better than that. We are better than that. Sonia said, have you visited our Young Men Emerging program at CTF? No, I have not. I thought I was gonna, I think something may be in the works, but it's taking forever to happen. I see some of the pictures online, so I'm really looking forward to being able to get in there and work with them. But it's a process. Everything is a process. And so we just working out what it takes for me to come in and to do what I'm doing. But for now, I'm doing the program in Ocala, Florida, and I'm waiting now to hear about me doing some programming in some institutions in Georgia, across the state of Georgia. So, but I always like to come into the home field. We just got to make the situation work for the institution, for the organization that's trying to get me in there, and for me. So, yeah, I can't wait to get back in there. So, ladies and gentlemen, Sonia said, okay, well, hope to see you there. So ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to hold you up all day. Again, I appreciate you. But what I need from you, I need you to give me some topics that we can talk about, because this is improv on my behalf. But I sure would love to be talking about, if I know about it, the stuff that you would like to discuss. Let's talk about empowerment. Let's talk about success. Let's talk about financial stability. Let's talk about writing. Let's talk about building up. So shoot me some ideas on stuff you would want to talk about. Comment on here and share. Until tomorrow, take care of yourself. Keep reaching for your dreams, because you the only one can grab them. Later, y'all.